If you're looking for an emerging small cap stock that is literally shattering the performance metrics of an old conventional industry to the point that is signed an LOI, letter of intent, with the biggest player in that industry, then you're going to love this interview with HPQ Silicon, who is transforming the process for manufacturing fumed silica. A lot of people don't know what that is, but it's used in cosmetics, toothpaste, and powdered foods. And what you need to know is the current status quo manufacturing is toxic, expensive, and really environmentally unfriendly. And today, HPQ announced that their pilot plant reactor has commenced operations. It's a great day. Bernard, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you.
I noticed you're wearing black, but it's a good day. So are you doing Johnny Cash? Are you trying to give us a little,
Oh,
a little
please
psyop?
let's not start the game of what is Bernard. What's the meaning of Bernard's shirt? It's just a warm shirt. It's a cold day. That's as simple as that.
You can play that psyop game all you want, but we know your shirts send a message. So we're going to keep interpreting online no matter what. So, question
Yeah.
number one. I'm going to go
Mhm.
straight to your quote. I usually don't do that. But your quote is, as with any R&D project, so give me a second, we encountered challenges and delays on our journey to this key milestone. However, we're now proud to demonstrate that our fumed silica reactor technology is poised to transform fumed silica manufacturing. While we never doubted this day would come, we deeply appreciate the patient support of our investors and partners as we work through the complexities of the process. So the question I have for you, are you more relieved today or are you really happy today? Because I'm not sure I know from that.
Relieve first. Okay. Um, as I said, I always know this thing would happen, but this is the part I hate about this job. When you do R&D and you're building a new piece of equipment, there's a part of it that's about as exciting as look at this paint dry. Okay, you never doubt it comes in, but it'll happen. I'll give an example. Yesterday, actually this morning, Jeff Bezos' Glenn rocket finally took off. Okay, the competitor to Elon Musk, Falcon X. And oh, how much ribbing he probably got until his freaking, excuse my language, until his rocket took off. I apologize.
Friggin' is
I'll try to
fine.
be better. I'll promise I'll try not to use those
Friggin'
of the
is
cuss
fine.
word. But, so the ribbing he must have gotten until that machine took off. And so I understand he probably he knew, and all these people knew, but until it happens, okay, it hasn't happened. Okay, it's not the same type of thing, but it's just a concept. So when you ask me the question, at this moment today, yes, I'm relieved it's done. Okay, it's done, it's started. And then probably starting tomorrow, I'm gonna get very, very excited because then we're finally back on track. We're finally back in business. Not that it's not abnormal for R&D project. There's nothing material to enhance between the two. As I said, sometimes it looks like paint drying. Okay. And I think if we actually discreet, you don't want to know what's in a sausage. You like it if it's good. So it's a bit like that. When there's a part of it that's making a sausage that really like, but it's very good.
If you like the sausage, don't ask how they make the sausage, just eat it.
Exactly.
So now that all systems are go, if
Mm-hmm.
we stay with your Blue Origin analogy, um,
Mm-hmm.
is that why tomorrow you're going to feel a lot better? All systems are go. You're going to start flying. You're up in the air and away you go.
Yeah, well, on the fume silica part, it's as if there was like a long period, okay, where nothing really exciting was moving other than saying, okay, we're getting closer, we're getting closer, we're getting closer, we're getting closer. Like drive you're a father, you remember that when you're driving the car, your kids, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And my father used to say, at every turn of the wheel, we get closer. Okay. That answer gets long over the period that this took. So I'm so happy it's done. It's out of the way. Now we can focus on what the FSR can do to the fume silica market. We can start looking forward to the offtake agreement negotiation, discussion, and probably
Whoa.
discussion with many other people. So it's like, okay, a lot of things were on standby where I was sort of playing like defense, talking to people and keeping people excited. And at the end, people were like so annoyed at some of the things I was saying, and I understand why. But somebody like asked me, tell it as if it's the best company ever with regard to fume silica and all the things we're doing. It is. what we've done so far, okay, uh, remove the delays.
Hold on, because that was my second question. So don't steal my
Okay.
thunder. Usually I ask you, how big is this? Right? But I think your quote says a lot, or not your quote, it is a line in the press release, which says, the FSR development program has transitioned from concept to operational reality, marking a key milestone in advanced materials engineering.
Mhm.
That sounds like it's more global. You're not talking about it's a key milestone for Georgecom, right? This is a key milestone in advanced materials engineering. Is that how big this is? Is this
Well, yes.
a global
What
paradigm shift?
for the manufacturing of fumed silica for processes that
Yeah.
use um sorry.
Sorry, keep going. Oh,
Apologize for that.
bless you, my man.
Sorry. So that's where I was going. Like, oh, schmuck. Okay. I have, I have something coming. No, it is. If you think about it, okay, all fumed silica were made by pyrogenesis process. It's funny. It's the same as pyro, but it's the name of the name. Pyrogénie, as we say in French. Okay, that's the name of a process where you burn it and you get the material, and that's how you make the material. Okay. We're going from a direct quartz to fumed silica process. So we eliminate all those steps in between, go to one step. Now that's a massive change in a fundamental way, okay? We are now doing a chemical process through the use of basically plasma at the base. It's a sort of a plasma system. So when they say this, yes, it is. Okay. And it worked at lab scale. Okay. It got phenomenal results. Listen, Evonik signed an LOI with us. They tested the material. Okay. And they liked it and they want to see more of it. Okay. End of story, debate, mic drop. Now it
Ah.
was our job. Well, it is true. Now it is our job to have a pilot plan, okay, which is a scaling up of this, to get it working, to demonstrate that we can replicate, okay, replicate what we've done. Once we've replicated this, then we will do what? We'll just basically make even better material because we did just quality 150. Once we go to pharmaceutical and those issues, then we get more price for the same cost. I was having discussions. Says, okay, what's going to be the increase of costs when you make the better material? There's no increase of cost, right? It's just adjustment, process adjustment. I won't
So,
say
and you're
turn up the
saying,
knob.
so the long answer to my question is, you're, this is a global, in terms of fume silica, you're talking about a global paradigm shift in advanced materials engineering. Like,
Mhm.
this is the Apple iPhone versus the Black, or this is the supercomputer versus the desktop and laptops. This is that kind of a paradigm shift.
Yeah, that's about that stomach paradigm, which happens at the right time where um basically, and what the other thing that we're bringing it to is much more scalable process, human scale size process, which in this day and age where there is going to be a big reshoring of manufacturing, and even, there might be even some borders between Canada and US with regard to commercial costs, our process has the advantage of it. We can install the equipment anywhere close to the end buyers, and we simplify the shipping costs, we simplify the shipping. So all the opportunity that got everybody so excited, okay, when we announced the LOI, okay, are still there.
No, obviously.
But now
And
we're
now they're within visibility. Because you brought up Evonik a couple of times, and I was going to ask that later, but I think we almost have to have that conversation now. Because you actually said, I said, whoa, because in the first couple of minutes you talked about, offtake agreement, all that. Um,
Mhm.
and now we're talking about it again. So let's talk about, where are we with Evonik right now? When do you expect to send them the samples? And then what is the cadence, generally speaking? I'm not pinning you down to dates and times, but what does the choreography look? What does the cadence look now? Samples, first samples, they like them, negotiations begin. How does all that look like?
I'll put it in this perspective, okay? And The original timeline I started to present it when we signed the LOI deal. Okay, my thought was that the system would be operational uh, June, July, August of last year. Okay, and then I sort of always alluded to the fact that I thought by the end of December we probably had an offtake agreement. And I've also said many, many times that one of the reasons that's not pushing me to have an offtake agreement now is because I want the pilot plant working so we can run through the numbers ourselves. Okay, again, validate the numbers, which is the key point. Okay, we need to validate that we make the material. And I think Peter was sort of in this quote. We need to validate that we can make the material. I think probability of success are extremely high. And then we need to validate that we can do it at the cost we advertise it, which I think the probabilities are very, very high. Now, there's a difference between probability and reality. Okay. Then once we have those numbers, then we can crunch those numbers and come into it. You know, is our EBITDA going to be like my projection right now are calling about 73% to 75% of operating based on selling at $5, or is it going to be higher? You know, because you try to do more advanced budget, then you got to play with all the variable that comes into it. But we're there. We're finally going to be there. Uh, you know, we've started the process. We're
Well, based on what you're saying, because last year you thought maybe June, July, August, maybe December. So you're talking 4 to 6 months. There's a bit of a range there of when you expect to have, give or
yeah, but
take. We're not
during
pinning you down, but just to give everyone a
well,
whole
somebody
idea.
is
Because one question that's come up
no.
online, a couple of people said, well, it won't be till 2027 until they can have a full plant running that's
That's
doing a
irrelevant.
million kilograms a year or whatever. We're gonna have to wait then, but you constantly said, no, we're not, we don't have to wait because by then, long before then, we're gonna have offtake agreements in place and whatever kind of deals you have in place. That's still the
Yeah,
model, right?
yeah,
We're not
and
waiting
but
until
I want to be very cautious in the saying when you said it could be 4 months. During that 4 months, okay, there will be a flurry, okay, of information coming out about the sample, the quality, the production, the efficiency of the system, those things, okay? And every one of those mini milestones that we will be reaching, okay, will increase the value, the intrinsic value of the technology, therefore the intrinsic value of HPQ Silica Pulveris, the company, which therefore will reflect also in the value of HPQ. So, you know, this is not the same type of binary as the machine was started or not started. This is like we're starting to make the stuff. This is what we do. We can come up with one series of number, and you know, we have other things that we're working on that might come in and surprise that might extend the value of all that we're working on. The
so now
problem
it's more
for
fluid. It's not binary. Now it's going to be fluid.
yeah, yeah. Now it's not. Now it's becoming more fluid. It's going to become more fluid and not binary. Okay, because it was really binary. Once the machine ready to start, not to start, and but now it becomes fluid, a regular flow of news, regular advancement. It's going to become more and more concrete. Okay, to the market. Okay, the disruptive potential of this technology, and then there will be many more people that want to come and dance with us. That I can
And,
guarantee.
and that was something else. So since we're talking about, and again, I was going to have this Evonik and commercial discussion later, the way I'd laid it out, but I'm happy to be doing it now. In fact, people are probably saying, "Hey, better now than later," so we don't have to listen to George's voice for the next half hour. But you also said, in
Mhm.
addition to the Evonik, you said, additionally, other potential collaborators bound by NDAs may
Mhm.
participate in these assessments to expand the scope of testing and feedback.
Mhm.
So we know that you're loyal to Evonik. They're the ones that put their name on the line. They're the ones signed the LOI. They're first by far. They're the first choice. But there are options. Do you expect? Do you? Is it too early to make the determination? But do you anticipate that there will be maybe a bit of an auction process, a bit of a bidding frenzy? Uh, what what do you think?
I have to be cautious of what I say, but
Of course.
I think um, HPQ Silica Pulveris shareholders would prefer if there was some type of bidding war, but if we can get a very solid home run with regard to our transaction with the first party that showed interest, and we're going to be very happy. The fundamental idea, okay, is to demonstrate the commercial viability of this technology. Then you have a market that's about, I forgot the size of it because it's a few $1 billion a year. Yeah. Then you have a technology at a disruptive advantage, where we have it, patented in different jurisdiction, and we can develop it moving forward. So that's going to be starting to come into it. Just the example I gave, in that Canada is about 16,000 ton per year of fumed silica all over the country.
And that's 16 million kilograms.
That's 16 million kilogram, yeah. And
Yeah.
fundamentally, so that would require 16 plants, 61,000, 1 million kilogram plant, which is 1,000 ton. So, that market is already big, and just that would be phenomenal in regard to numbers. I think just
What would be, give us the quick math, Bernard, on that 1 million kilogram plant? You said the Canada alone would need 16. And
Yeah.
again, you're not trying to imply that you're going to get 100% of the market here, but we're just talking about the size of the market. What are the economics on 1 million kilograms right now?
Okay. Um, Disclaimer: rough order of magnitude. These numbers may change. This is management estimate. I'm just being overly cautious about these things. Ballpark, it's a rough order of magnitude. So if you estimate, you build a million kilogram plant, you're probably going to have a 90% efficiency. So that means 900,000 kilograms to be solid. Assume an average selling price of around $8 US. You get an idea of the numbers. A profit margin of about, say EBITDA of about 70%. So we're going to be around. We're going to be making about $7 million of EBITDA a year, roughly. That's what the number says. So that's for 1,000 tons, 7 million. So multiply by that by 10, assuming the same numbers, those issues, and you get up to 70 million.
So 7 million per 10 plants. And Canada
Per
alone
10
needs
plants.
16 plants. So
Canada
what's the
alone
global
needs 16.
size? It's a good time to revisit this. If Canada alone is 16 million, 16 million kilos, what's
Last
the
time
ballpark, the global?
Last time I checked, it was something like about 1 million ton, the overall global market.
So 1 billion kilos.
Yeah, 1 billion kilos, but we won't get all of that at the beginning.
No, of course not. We're talking about size of
Eventually,
market,
yes,
then
but at the
addressable
beginning.
market. We know that.
Yeah.
But even then, when you have a category killer, it's going to be hard for anybody to compete at the old scale sooner or later against either you or whoever owns this technology, whoever's licensing or producing this technology, the product from
Yeah,
this
because
technology,
licensing
right?
can be, licensing royalty deals can be other ways we can get into revenues. This all becomes addressable discussion once we have the pilot plant working, and the pilot plant is starting. Yay. So you understand, like
Yeah.
it's much more business related now. It shows an intrinsic value in HPQ. It's a check mark of a milestone achieved. It is a big milestone when you go with a conceptual idea, okay, which has been there for a heck of a long time, and get it to lab scale to do material that meets the commercial quality at the skepticism of all the industrial into it, and then we go there. Right now, I agree that there's skepticism, but once we start making the material, there's no competition, and the advantage is. It's very easy to guarantee to differentiate between our material and any other material done during the ultimate process, because all commercial fumed silica presently available have traces of hydrogen chloride into them. Small percentage. We have none because
That's
there's
not
none
going to
in our
wash in
process.
this world.
Well, no, it's there, it's accepted, it's part of it's within the accepted tolerance rate. But in our case, we'll have zero because we don't use it. We don't
Yeah,
produce it.
and
We don't make it.
it's going to be very hard once. Look, this is me but this is me just using some of my experience. But right now, everyone accepts it. But if a player emerges where there was none and they're significant enough and everybody knows it, the rest of the market's going to say, why am I using the dirtier stuff when I can have the cleaner stuff? That's just, no matter what, it's going to be like a virus. That's going to spread pretty fast. Let's get to the question of the samples when? In the press release said the equipment is now fully ready and to process materials and produce fumed silica. So that to me says, if I can pretend I'm Usain Bolt, it means I'm on the start line here. I've got my hands down, fully ready to process materials and produce fumed silica. Okay. So what does that mean? When does the gun go off? Does it go off today, in a week, in a month? When does the actual
No, no,
gun
no,
go
no,
off?
no. It probably either goes off today, tomorrow. It's off. It's ready to go now. Just like running the first test, starting to make some material, doing some adjustment, and doing those issues. But the main reason why we didn't put any timeline is because our timeline is a bit. Let's not get into them. But it's R&D. It's normal. But it's very short. Like I just to give a comparison. I think I used that, but I want to repeat that. The QRR, when we used to do a test, needed 3 days before to get the machine up to temperature, okay, and 4 days afterward to cool it down. So one test was 7 to 2 weeks. This is not the same thing. Now, am I going to tell you how many tests we can do a day? No, I'm not going to get involved with just giving those numbers because I realize that sometimes over transparency can go against you in the sense that if you're supposed to be doing two tests by this amount, there should be this amount of tests, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
people make up story. The fact is, our goal right now is to replicate what we've done with lab scale, so we know exactly what the first material is supposed to look. It probably will not be perfect fume silica, but it will be exactly the same type of material we produce when we start lab scale. Says, okay, we're on the right track, and we're gonna get second time, third time, fourth time's a charge. That's it. But we
How
know the
much
recipes. We know these issues.
how much fumed silica does Evonik need, or the other parties under NDA, George Com fumed silica? How much do they need? Is it we're talking about a couple hundred grams, talking about a kilo, multiple kilos? What do you need? What somebody need in order to fully evaluate?
From memory, what we sent to Evonik for them to like our material was 40 grams. So I would say anywhere between 100 gram to a kilogram per material sent is going to be new. And if you go take a look at the capacity of the machine, what is that? I think they wrote it or we wrote multiple kilogram per hours. Yeah, the machine is capable of doing like 161 kilogram per day on a 20-hour shift.
Not on day one, though. Even if the
No, no,
gun goes off
not on day
right
one.
now.
But as I said, Evonik signed an LOI based on 40 grams of material.
So a couple of
And
kilos,
and
I would
and
assume a couple
and,
of kilos is
yeah,
more than enough. Is that safe to
oh,
say?
yeah. 100. At the beginning, if we send them 100 grams, they'll be excited. Okay, I'll give you an example. I think number 3 that we send sample to, I think we only send them 10 grams. Okay, and they came back and says, okay, why don't you have more sample? This looks interesting. So,
Bernard, the dealer, you're sending people 10 grams just to get them hooked. You're the fume silica.
think
You're
about
the
it. The
fume silica
material is white. I
narcos.
better not go through custom with samples. Check him. It's white.
Speaking of
So,
others,
a white powder. Yeah.
is the phone. I remember once you and I had spoken. I'd asked you this question a couple of interviews back. I can't remember when I had said, "Hey Bernard, how are the other guys? You talking to them?" And you said, "George, they're not going to talk to us until the pilot plant is up and running. Until we. So you're here now. I
Mhm.
know you put out today, but any any interest, phone calls, expressions
Okay.
of we're ready from the other parties, or they still want to wait a few days, a couple of weeks until the gun has gone off and you're producing it.
No. I have Evonik that wants a material that has a priority into it. And I have another one that says, when can you send me a kilogram? I have another one I have to start conversation, which is a sort of a smaller player, but he still buys, I think, 500,000 kilograms a year. No, more than that.
Say that part again. Sorry.
No, how much he needs? Yeah, he needs like he probably need the like a third of the capacity of 1,000 ton per year. So so all many people will want material now. Evonik would probably prefer that I don't send them to everybody else. And I told them the solution is simple: buy out all of our sample that we produce, and that way they'll be yours. That way we won't send them to other people.
The
So
buyout's not enough because that's, hundreds, let's
no,
just
but
say,
that
even at
no, but
$160
but it's not a
kilograms,
question.
800, that's
George,
$800 a day, that's
George, that's not a question of revenue generation. This pilot plant, okay, isn't designed to really make money. Okay, it's $250,000 a year, 2 million. Like, even if the profit margin were through the roof, it's not as efficient as a commercial plant. It is there, okay, for one goal and one goal only: validate that what we've done on lab scale, we can go to commercial scale. It represents a scale up milestone, okay, because the next scale up to commercial scale will be less, okay, will be within the rhythm. So in those type of process, the scaling up to 1,000 ton, okay, is within all the rhythm, and basically all the issues that we've resolved or design thought that we put into the process have been going into it. And there might be modifications to the design that are going to make a thing. Oh, when we get the machine here working on a pilot plant, we do that. It's not going to generate, it's not there to generate revenue. It's there to generate value through offtake agreement, deals,
correct.
interest, demonstration of quality. And that's what people have to understand.
Question for you. While we were waiting for the proverbial, you said your words, paint to dry, and you're going through this gap, you had the silicon anode side, the silicon anode material side that was really accelerating, even some news on the hydrogen side. Now that this news is out, is it safe to assume that fumed silica is back to the front of the line in terms of the closest one for revenue generation, deal generation? Because it seems like now it's going to be going fast. You're going to be producing samples, and you can be making a little better, sending them out, make a little better. Negotiation starting, and maybe between 4 and 6 months. That just I was kind of going what you said earlier. I'm not putting. You may have an offtake agreement. You may or may not have some kind of commercial agreement, but that's what you're gunning for. Is it safe to assume that fume silica is now back at the front of the line in terms of commercialization, the soonest to commercialize?
Well, fume silica is ahead of the line. It's the number one project, but close behind is silicone anode material, because we keep getting phone calls and interest in demonstration. So we have a plan to scale that up and move that forward. Then it's going to be the autonomous hydrogen reactor, and that one also can be probably commercial, probably can have a commercial type of material or technology available. But the advantage, and there's another one that we're working on. So the advantage of all those issues is that there's going to be partnership with other parties that are going to demonstrate the intrinsic value of the intellectual properties and our know-how that we have within the HPQ Innovation group.
Speaking of how you're saying partners, I can't help but think, and again, we're getting out, and I'll ask this because I don't like to get into speculative questions. But could you see the fume silica side? No one company can handle the whole world in anything. I mean
Mhm.
anything. Is
Mhm.
it possible that you could have Evonik have some kind of commercial, whatever that arrangement would be, to take a big chunk of the world, and you have another partner in Asia, and you have another partner in South and North America, or something like that? Could that ultimately, could you foresee a multi-partner approach? Because it seems like the market's so big and global that I don't know if anybody can handle all of it on its own. Just spitballing.
Well, once the technology is well defined and well organized, it's either going to be us doing it through offtake agreements, or basically licensing, technology licensing, and those type of issues, which basically transfer the cost burden to us and gives us maybe it doesn't give us 100% of the pie, but it gives us a big enough slice of the pie, which is basically no cash more to for us to spend. So we'll be studying every opportunity there is. Okay, but before you start running, we have to walk. Okay, we were crawling until the pilot plant started. Now we'll be starting to walk toward those goals. But in the meantime, we will be reaching some demonstrable, I believe that's a word, if not it's the Bernieism.
Yeah. Ah,
Basically, value to the technology, which is going to be reflected into the value of HPQ as we move forward.
and so that's all the questions I have. There is a few questions on the Agoracom. I'm gonna say to Lewis 1 million, Mag Beach, because those questions were more intricate. I mean, one is 5 lines and one is 8, 9 lines long, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. This isn't the venue. We've already got 30 minutes here, so it's not the venue here. So Bernard, will you answer them on Agoracom? Will you reply to them? And I'll ask you the one question from Common Sense because it's a more straightforward question. Will you be answering those questions on Agoracom in the next 24 hours?
I will try to, but I've actually have some very important documents I have to finish for some transaction I'm working on. So I will see if I have
All
time
right.
for it.
Well, at some even through the weekend. Okay, at some point.
Yeah.
Uh, Common Sense. Thanks for the question. Also, this was a simpler one. Where he or she had asked me earlier, can you ask Bernard what's the status of PowerGenesis taking 50% ownership in HPQ Polver? So what is the status there?
For the best way to say it, it's ongoing. Okay, but it'll be finalized at a specific moment. There's an operational question for both companies that we have to wait until XYZ. So at this specific moment, HPQ still owns 100%, but Pyrogenesis has confirmed their intention to convert, but we haven't done the conversion yet. Uh, for reasons that were not apparent when we did the first transaction, they became apparent. So we just gotta wait, but it's gonna happen. Everybody wants it to go to move forward. It's like it's really one of those silly legal question that comes up that's not a big issue, but tells us that okay, we just have to wait until we finalize the deal. But then again, we're already operating as a 50-50 partnership.
Yeah.
They do the technology, I do the marketing, sales, do those type of issues. Press release we issue are combined. So it's there. I don't know if that answers that question, but it's about as much as I
No,
can
that's
answer.
perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, there still a couple of
And
basically there's still a couple of moving parts. The intention is there, but there are a couple moving parts, and when those moving
mm,
parts stop moving, then it'll all be crystallized and away you go. That's the lawyer part, and that's the lawyer side of me. We can say.
it's exactly what I had. Oh, that's a lawyer's way of saying it. Okay, perfect. I don't have an issue. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't even
Oh,
play one on TV.
my mother did some.
Um,
She did a lot of things right, and that was one of them. I don't know what I'm doing talking to you. I should be papering this deal, but
so fundamentally, like I also got a question from an investor from Netherlands. So hi, Ants. Well, naturally, the first question: when will sample be sent to Evonik? As I told George, and sorry about this. Um, I won't come out a prediction when they will be sent, but when they will be sent, we will advise everybody. It'll be an exciting moment for everybody. And what's your plan for 50,000 kilogram of sort of a kilogram per year plant is really going to be used as an educational process, not as education, as the cornerstone to build a commercial plant, as the cornerstone for us to get multiple offtake agreement, and maybe try to see if we can, once we get the machine working, maybe if we can find other applications for the technologies. So it's really exciting. So in
any more questions
conclusion,
that
like
you
it,
had on your end?
no, yeah, that's the only question I have. But I just wanted to acknowledge the reception of the email from one of our investors in Netherlands. So we are
Yeah,
we are
that's
world
awesome. And by the
famous.
way, based on what Bernard said, I love the fact that people are already posting their messages to the forum because why is that great? It's not just self-serving, even though I love it. It's full transparency. Everybody sees the exact same question and everybody sees the exact same answer. So nobody gets a different answer. Nobody loses anything in translation. And everyone gets access at the exact same time. And that's why I love that. So keep on posting the question to the forum. Bernard, congratulations on this press release. And this one, I know you keep calling it milestone, but I think it's bigger than that. Milestones is this is you've jumped over into the next phase. This is I think this is a transitory, transitional news today. This is a transition event. This now, it's like a rocket booster. Going back to you talking about Bezos and Blue Origin, as it goes higher and higher, the boosters fall off, and I think this is a booster's fallen off, and that yet now you're going into a higher trajectory. So I'm proud of you. I think I speak on behalf of everybody where we say, man, thank you, thank to Pyro, the whole team, all you guys. And now that we're finally here and we're in orbit, as opposed to still, I think before this we're on the launch
On
pad.
the launch pad. We
We're
were
on the
on the
launch
launch
pad,
pad for
right?
such a long time.
Now we're not. Now we're orbiting. So it's a completely different ball game. Even though it's the same ship, it's a completely different status. And now, with every revolution of the Earth, we're gonna have more news coming out of you, more updates coming out of you guys, and that's gonna be really exciting. And here we are, mid-January, we're up and running. But I know how hard it is to do this. I've said this before. I give you guys full credit because, man, this is rarefied air. People might think it's easy. Yeah, get the power plant going, sell those pizzas, and let's make money. It's not. And the fact that you make it look like that and you've got this stage, congratulations, Johnny Cash.
Thank you, George.
And when you said earlier the analogy, I'm going to give everyone a meme idea. When you said it's like everybody, the kids asking, "Are we there yet?" So I was picturing the Bernard bus. You're driving the Bernard bus, and all the shareholders are in the back saying, "Are we there yet?" So if someone doesn't take advantage of that meme, I will when we've got time. But thanks,
As
Bernard.
long as you don't put a Lion bus, electric bus doing it, then I'll be happy.
We will, and we'll make sure of that. Congrats, my man. Go get a rest. I know it sounds like you got a lot to do the next 24 hours, but get some rest, pat yourself on the back, and then we're right back to it. Have a great day. Everyone at home, thanks for joining us. Keep those questions coming, keep the engagement coming. It's gonna be worth real rewards. So you might as well, start transitioning. Have a great day. See you next time.
See you next time.
Hey Small Cap fam, I hope you loved this interview because more than a dozen people were involved in its production for the sole purpose of making you happy. If so, can you take a moment to support both our awesome guest company and Agora.com? Your engagement means the world to us. First, if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up by tapping that like button. It's a small gesture that helps this interview reach even more potential investors to discover today's guest. Second, we would love to hear your feedback on this interview, so please leave a comment below. Be sure to keep it clean, but feel free to poke fun at George. If you loved what you heard on today's video and want to dig into our guest company right away, take a look at the links in the description below. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to never miss another great Agora.com small cap video. Thank you so much. We couldn't do any of this without you. Make sure to come back soon.